Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Some of you may be able to tell, but in this video I'm in London. I was able to squeeze in a few gallery visits while I was here, which is always great. So we're going to start at Pilar Corrias' brand new space in Mayfair. They have two spaces in London, one on Savile Row, which we'll be visiting in a bit, and now this one. The inaugural exhibit is by Christina Quarles, and it's titled Tripping Over My Joy. So Quarles is known for creating works that center around perspective, particularly how we perceive one another both physically and emotionally. So you can see this really literally represented in the way that she's divided the canvases into multiple planes and the way that she's creating these multidimensional figures, which I think is meant to be a visual metaphor for how complex we are as humans and how identity in general can be quite a complex thing. All of the works on this floor are oil on canvas, although Quarles is known for using her background as a graphic designer to digitally sketch out the works and then paint them on canvas. This is not by Christina, but I do really like this work. It is in the hallway that leads you downstairs to the second gallery space. This is actually my favorite part of the exhibit because down here there are 9 works on paper. And I personally really enjoy the kind of looseness of these works. They're a little more organic than her works upstairs, which I really appreciate. And what I mean by that is I like how the paint seems a little more layered. This is probably due to the fact that it's acrylic and it dries faster than oil paint, but I think the effect is really nice. So the next stop of the day is going to be Massimo de Carlo Gallery to see an exhibit of works by the New York-based artist Dominique Fung. So this is actually her first solo exhibit in Europe, which is very exciting. And if you're not familiar with her work, she's known for creating these surrealist-esque works with a very focused color palette. I think the color combinations are really rich and beautiful. The exhibit is titled Uprooted, and the works explore the idea of metamorphosis and movement through time, and they're heavily inspired by her East Asian culture. For example, the sculptures that we just saw are scholars' rocks, which are known as gongxi in Chinese, and they're naturally occurring or shaped rocks that often evoke landscapes and are appreciated in traditional East Asian arts. So these rocks are appreciated for their form, texture, and sense of sort of tranquility or the ruggedness that they convey, and collectors will display them as art pieces or use them in contemplative practices. So, staying true to her signature of applying anthropomorphic qualities to her subjects, like her gongxi, there are these living entities which are doing things like fishing or blossoming flowers. When speaking about why her culture is so important to her to explore in her works, Fung says, quote, "My family lineage has these multiple layers of disconnect due to language and location. We are in search of the ability to communicate and connect with one another. In my art practice, I yearn for that missing piece, that history and connection, and my works embody a profound sense of longing and distance." Our next stop is the second Pilar Corrias location to see an exhibit of works by Helen Johnson. So this exhibit consists of 10 paintings on canvas that Johnson created when training to be an art therapist. So the works are all about the unconscious mind's relationship with the human body. So an example of this is Johnson drawing upon imagery remembered from her dreams. Overall, she likens the process of making this art to a therapy session. And the gallery states the quote, "The painting subjects become elusive, shifting in meaning, seemingly revealing their own unconscious intentions alongside Johnson's." So the works really start to take on a life of their own. Our next stop is Pippy Houldsworth Gallery, which admittedly I've never actually been to before, but I have been following their program for a while, so I'm excited to finally see their space. This is a really cool exhibit, or honestly installation, by Francesca DiMattio. And as you can see, she has completely transformed the space and designed everything from the wallpaper to the flooring to the sculptures. The exhibit is titled Wedgwood, which is a reference to the famous ceramics brand, and it speaks to the greater theme of the show, which is all about disrupting preconceived notions of the domestic and decorative. And she does this by deconstructing stereotypical sort of domestic objects like porcelain, chandeliers, a Rococo mirror, Wedgwood-inspired wall scones, and more. And the gallery states the quote, "By shifting scale and context, DiMattio invites the viewer to see surface in general in new ways, and in turn expand our attitudes toward the definition of feminine." Our final stop of the day is going to be Almine Gallery to see an exhibit of paintings by Amanda Wall. So the exhibit is titled Femcel, which is a term that is derived from female incel, and incel means involuntarily celibate. So while nowadays this term is associated with violent misogyny online and in the press, it should actually be noted that the incel movement was originally created by a woman. And it can really take many forms. Sometimes it's an aesthetic satire, other times it's self-loathing. It's kind of unclear which Wall is speaking to in her works. Maybe it's a little bit of both, but I can't help but notice in general there's this feeling of isolation in each of her works and her subjects. These women are in their domestic havens, and they're completely oblivious and indifferent to the viewer's gaze. And that's all for this video and for this trip. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season, and I will see you all in my next video.